Welcome to Municipal Affairs. For the first time in 160 days, the Saskatchewan Legislature is set to sit once again. Lawmakers will return to Regina today, marking the start of a new session and the return of many of the same old debates that defined the spring. Despite the long summer recess, the issues facing Saskatchewan's municipalities haven't gone anywhere. Questions around infrastructure, municipal funding, and the relationship between the province and local governments are all expected to be front and center once again. Now, earlier this week, we sat down with Government Relations Minister, the Honourable Eric Schmalz, to hear what he's been hearing from municipal leaders over the past several months. We also spoke about that recent trip to Ottawa, where he joined mayors and representatives from SUMA and SARM in advocating for the continuation of the Investing in Canada infrastructure program, a program that municipalities across the Prairies say is critical to maintaining and improving essential infrastructure. All that and more coming up now on Municipal Affairs. Across Canada, our cities, towns, villages, and rural communities are alive with stories waiting to be told. Stories of innovation and economic development, resilience in the face of the housing challenges, and the financial hurdles municipalities overcome every day. At the Cross Border Network, we bring these stories to life. From coast to coast to coast, we're connecting Canadians to the issues shaping our communities and showcasing the people working tirelessly to make them thrive. With your support, we can expand our reach, amplify more voices, and shine a light on the challenges and triumphs of municipal life. For as little as $3.99 a month, you can help us grow and continue sharing the stories that matter most. Join us today and be part of this important mission. Together, we can tell more stories, build stronger communities, and make a real difference. Support the Cross Border Network now. Visit www.crossborderinterviews.ca today. Minister, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about what you heard over the last few months as the session of the Saskatchewan Legislature kicks off on Wednesday, October 22nd. So as you have crisscrossed the province, what were you hearing from municipal leaders from all corners and all regions of the province?
Thanks, Chris. Great to be here again. We've had our summer tour has been busy schedule. We've gone to several communities, including ones in northern Saskatchewan, and the focus has always been the same. The conversation has always led to one direction, and that is municipal infrastructure and the investments required around municipal infrastructure across the province.
Now, one of the big things that just transpired in the last, I would say, month was you alongside one of your fellow cabinet colleagues, Ken Cheveldayoff, Minister Cheveldayoff, and also mayors and the representatives from SUMA and SARM traveled to Ottawa to talk about infrastructure funding with your federal counterparts. From your perspective, how did those meetings in Ottawa go?
Absolutely great. Actually, you know, that's what the genesis of us going to Ottawa was those conversations that we had in communities, realizing that there was a diverse and very, very broad need for infrastructure investment. So after we had those conversations in those communities, we realized that the current program that's on offer from the provincial and federal governments is not meeting the needs in those communities. So what we wanted to do was make sure that we could make a concerted effort so that our local voices, municipal voices in Saskatchewan, were heard at the federal government table. We did that in those meetings with our federal counterparts, bringing our municipal partners with us as one big team Saskatchewan.
Now, one thing that we often talk about when we talk about infrastructure is the pipes that go underneath the ground, the roadways, the buildings that people use on a regular basis. But after talking to mayors of Yorkton and also the mayor of Swift Current, I get a sense that this is also talking about pools, water treatment facilities. When you were speaking to mayors of big and small reeves of communities across Saskatchewan, was there a common theme that you were hearing about what exactly they're looking for? Or is it a range of issues each municipality with their own unique infrastructure needs are facing?
Yeah, the biggest thing they wanted was flexibility, the ability to apply for the projects that were needed in their own communities. Like we often approach things in a broad spectrum sense to allow for municipalities to have that. So we're not prescribing what they're using that money for as much as it is right now. What we want to make sure we do is provide that flexibility, sustainability in any infrastructure program so that they can apply it in areas of their community that they see the most need. And everything, as you stated, everything from recreational facilities to pipes in the ground. That's what the need is across this province, as broad in range as that. Obviously, we've got the mayor of Yorkton who needs a water treatment facility. We're working with them on that. And we're also to the mayor of Swift Current, Al Bridle, who needs a pool in his community. So those are the types of things we want to be there to support our municipalities in this province by lobbying the federal government to come on board and provide that flexible funding with us.
So, by the sense that I got from speaking with the mayors who were in Ottawa alongside yourself, it was positive news, but it wasn't great news. While the mayor said that they felt like the ministers in Ottawa heard them, there was no guarantee of money. And the one thing I often hear from mayors and Reeves, which you were a former one yourself, is the best time to invest is yesterday, not 4 days from now, or even a year from now. What does the province of Saskatchewan now have to do to ensure that the work that happened in Ottawa and the work that you did over the summer doesn't end now that you're back in session on Wednesday?
Yeah, absolutely. It's keeping that line of communication open, moving forward on this issue. We've developed some significant relationships over the course of this summer, starting in our federal, provincial, and territorial meetings with ministers, my fellow ministers from across the provinces and territories, with Minister Robertson, creating that foundation for a relationship, having those conversations and continuing the communication around the needs, diverse needs in each province, including Saskatchewan, which we are putting forward in a big way here. So keeping that we'll say foot on the gas as far as making sure we're front of mind in those discussions that are happening in Ottawa behind closed doors, that we are putting our best foot forward in stepping up and committing to funding our portion of any infrastructure program, more flexible infrastructure program that may be on offer from our counterparts in Ottawa, alongside our municipal partners here in the province. Those are the type of things we have to keep focused on.
And it seems like there was a little bit of movement in the last few days as well. I think you, alongside Minister Gregor Robertson, were just in Prince Albert for an announcement alongside Secretary of State Buckley Belanger. What did you hope to achieve with this new announcement around housing and infrastructure funding for the city of Prince Albert?
So that was specifically the reinvestment on the Canada Community Building Fund. So that is something that every all the taxes earned or taxes gained from every time you fill up with the pumps, those go back into our communities in Saskatchewan. It's administered through the Ministry of Government Relations, pardon me, and is something that we've announced in conjunction with our federal counterparts, as you stated, Minister Robertson and Secretary of State Belanger. And that happened in Aaron, actually. Sorry, that's $65.9 million that's going to be put into projects across Saskatchewan.
So what does the path forward look like now? Because as of recording this, we're just a few days away from the opening of the fall session with the speech from the throne. What do you do in this upcoming fall session of the Saskatchewan Legislature to ensure that the work that you started with conversations turns into real concrete action? Because I can imagine the mayors that are talking to you want to see some concrete action. What do you plan to do in this upcoming session?
Well, obviously, our communication plan with our federal counterparts, we're looking at further opportunities to meet with them and discuss this, providing certainty for them that we will be a partner with them in any programming that needs to be going forward. The tripartite agreements that we can make with our federal counterparts and municipal partners is the best way to stretch that dollar, to make those community investments in infrastructure go further than just having the municipality supply the funds or the province supply the funds. Providing that certainty for any of our partners, whether they be municipal or federal, to have that ability to go back to their individual councils or ministry and provide that information to them and be able to sign on, knowing full well we'll be there with them.
Also, the one thing I often hear about is that from local government or government relations ministers across the provinces, you're kind of the minister of everything, and you have to have a working knowledge of every single other portfolio because municipalities are the front lines. When you're in this upcoming session, how important is it going to be to relay the messages that you got during your summer travels to the appropriate ministers to ensure that they know what you heard? And because you have a lot of municipalities in the province of Saskatchewan. I can imagine every minister can't get to every single one of them, but you have tried and I've seen your social media feed. You are around a lot. How do you make sure that what you heard is getting to the appropriate ministry?
Obviously, we have collaboration, cross collaboration, as you mentioned in our cab with my cabinet colleagues. We have those conversations ongoing. Sometimes they're in, on our travels to and from Regina back to our home constituencies. Just a quick phone call from something that I'd heard 5 minutes earlier in another phone call. Those are the type of open dialogues that are ongoing with cabinet colleagues across our cabinet. So those type of things are essential in communicating what we're hearing and allowing our cabinet colleagues to make decisions that benefit the municipalities and other ministries as well. So those type of things are vitally important. The open dialogue and open communication to ensure that nothing is being left off the table or forgotten.
How do we make sure that nothing is forgotten? Because with over 700 municipalities, there's a lot of unique issues for every single one of them. And there's going to be things that are macroized, the infrastructure funding, housing, water treatment facilities, but there's going to be small things that are going to be near and dear to each individual municipality's issue. And you can't forget every single one of them because you have to work for that team Saskatchewan approach, as you mentioned at the beginning of the interview. How do you ensure that? How do you make sure that you keep that line of communication open, not just with the federal government, but with all mayors and reeves across the province of Saskatchewan?
Chris, as you know, and I have to make no bones about it, that we have an open door policy here.
Yeah.
If a municipality wants to reach out and talk to us about what they're dealing with or what they're going through, call my office. That's not a problem at all. We have those direct communications with municipalities as well as the representative organizations and associations that are there as the larger groups like SUMA and SARM. They are the ones that bring the broad spectrum of issues and even some on the micro level, as you mentioned. That is something that we do as a ministry as well. If anyone wants to come to us with an idea or a plan, I have an open door policy. We judge projects or proposals on their merits and have those conversations directly as well.
So we are coming up to 1 year since you were appointed government relations minister. And I know I did not prepare you for this, but I'm going to play into the sandbox for just a quick second. How have you grown into this role as government relations minister? Because a year ago today, you were still reeve of the rural municipality of Prince Albert, and now you're sitting in the halls of power in downtown Regina, preparing for the speech from the throne. How has the last year been for yourself?
Well, Chris, I can equate it. I don't know if you've ever had experienced this as a kid, but have you ever tried jumping in the back of a pickup truck while the truck is rolling forward and you just can't quite get your foot up on the bumper to get back in the truck? That's how it felt in the beginning. You're just drinking from the fire hose. I mean, it's a cliched term and it's been used many times to describe, the overflow of information. But once that flow has been tempered and you've had a chance to absorb some of the information and be able to understand it more fully, it surely benefits both myself and the people I represent, as well as more broadly the province of Saskatchewan. So, for me, having that ability to start to develop that knowledge base and be able to actively engage with our municipal partners, our federal partners, as well as my cabinet colleagues, has been a tremendous benefit. And I feel, you have a small sense of that on the micro level when you're reeve for a municipality, and that really, honestly, municipal governance gave me a good knowledge base on what to expect coming into a role such as this, and it's been truly has been the honor of my life to be here serving the people of Saskatchewan in this role.
And for the people of Saskatchewan Rivers, which is your local riding, What is the benefit of having you as that government relations minister or even around cabinet? Because I can imagine, and I just traveled through your riding, so I know this for a fact. Every 5 minutes I saw your face and I was like, am I getting followed by Minister Schmalz here? No, it's just you're out there on the time. So you are a truly local MLA, cabinet minister as well. So what's the benefit for the people of your riding to have you around that table?
Well, obviously, I bring a voice to the constituency, as do all MLAs and caucus colleagues. Actually, it's the sacrifice for my constituents to have me in cabinet, not always being in every community at all times, is outweighed by having that voice directly at the cabinet table. So those things are some of the fringe benefits to the we'll call it the cost benefit analysis or ratio, whatever term you want to use, but having that ability to have direct communication with my caucus colleagues, as most government MLAs do. They really do. They are staunch and vocal advocates for their constituents and constituencies individually. Um, Obviously, with the challenges around a schedule of a cabinet minister, it gets a little bit tricky to be at every community event. But nonetheless, I have that direct communication with them and providing them that information.
So before I let you go, because I'm cautious of time, I want to just ask this simple, not simple question, but it's an overarching one. Now we are entering in the fall sitting of this session of the government. What can municipalities across the province of Saskatchewan look forward to seeing in this upcoming session? Because they want to see action. And I know I'm not going to ask you what's in the speech from the throne, because that is not going to be read, and it's going to be under some lock and key before then. But what can municipalities, both rural and urban, look forward to seeing and hearing from this government in this upcoming session?
Well, just before we go into that, Chris, if I could really quickly, we do like part of what we are going to be working on currently with our municipal partners is the CHIF program, and Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund. Now, it is a bit myopic and it's focused strictly on supported housing. The applications for projects are open till November 28th, so we want to make sure that that's out there and people understand that they have, our municipal leaders have that information out there and are available, and it is available for them to apply and have their project listed. But
Can I play in that sandbox for a second, Eric? For a second,
yeah,
Minister, I
yeah, sure,
apologize.
yeah, sorry, it took us off the track there.
No,
Sorry.
but I do want, because I didn't expect you to raise it, and I was going to play in it, but I was cautious of time. But
Yeah,
if you want to, I'm going to just ask
yeah,
this question.
yeah,
Now, I
absolutely.
speak to a lot of small villages, small town mayors across Saskatchewan. And as I travel across, the one thing I often hear is government programs need to start addressing the small town
Mhm.
municipalities, and they cannot rely just on the big cities. And I'm not trying to pick on Mayor Bridle or Mayor Keenley of Yorkton and Swift Current, but they're in the top of my head, and you mentioned them, so I'm going to pick on them for a second. How does a village of Neville, of Kyle, ensure that they get funding from the CHIF program that the larger communities often get the majority of?
Well, what we've done in our rollout of this program actually is to ensure that that dollar is going further. We're looking at a more narrowed dollar figure put into this fund. We're going to be providing a cap of $50 million on the project, so that that dollar can stretch further and be able to reach those smaller communities without being swallowed up by one large project in one of our large urbans. We want to make sure that we are able to supply those smaller communities with the support they need to invest in their infrastructure and continue, providing a strong and safe community for their residents and ratepayers.
No, and I appreciate that. But again, unless you're going to throw a lot more money in the program in the next spring budget, municipalities are going to be waiting, aren't they?
Well, no, those like this program is due to roll out, or sorry, is due to close the applications on November 28th, and we're looking for those projects to start coming online in the spring.
Oh, no, but I'm assuming for next
Oh,
year's
sorry.
installment, because unless this is just a one-off program, which it could be, and I apologize if I'm not doing my due diligence here, but
No, that's fine.
are you going to see an increase this year potentially? Because more and more municipalities are asking for a lot more money, and you're going to have to upset some municipalities in this year's budget because if they all apply and you say we're all going to give everyone the money that they want, I can imagine Scott Moe and your Minister of Finance are not going to be happy with you.
So there will be a second intake. The initial intake uh, was this year. Obviously, the second intake will be in 2027, and it'll be very competitive. So there
Yeah.
won't be, they're going to be looking at a broad spectrum of criteria under which individual municipalities apply and are granted funding under this program. So it's a 10-year program that we have just started. So it's going to be continuous and allow those municipalities to apply. There will be continual intakes.
So what I'm hearing from the minister for the mayors and reeves who are listening to this right now is apply today. Make sure you get your ducks in a row and get your information in.
Yes.
But going
Yes.
back to the session and the future, what can municipalities look for in this upcoming session that will better them by the end of this year?
Well, look, I mean, we are number one, the most affordable place to live in Canada, Saskatchewan as a whole. Um, our theme and our focus is building strong and safe communities, a strong and safe province. Those are the things that we want to get to work on, and will be outlined in the throne speech. I don't want to get ahead of our premier in that throne speech, but I want to make sure that people tune in and listen to what's being said, because there is some very good things coming for the people of Saskatchewan to ensure that we have a strong and vibrant province going well into the future.
Well, I will be tuning in for sure. And I feel like this is not the last conversation you and I will be having this year around what's going on. And we will probably see each other in Regina at the SARM convention later on this, literally a few days from now. So thanks so much, Minister Schmalz, for taking time and sitting down with us and talking about this upcoming session, but also your summer. Greatly appreciate it.
My pleasure, Chris. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Municipal Affairs. Now, we hope you've enjoyed today's conversation and gained some valuable insights into this world of municipal politics and how the provincial government can affect it. Now, your support means the world to us. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube by clicking the subscribe button there. If you can as well, share this episode with your friends, your family, and yes, even your community, and help keep the conversation going. Till next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we will be back with a brand new episode of Municipal Affairs shortly. Till then, everyone.